Hello, this is Manny Ramos, your host of Rise Up, Real Issues and Stories of Every One of Us podcast. First, let me talk about who we are. I'm Manny Ramos, a board member of PNAA, a past president of the Philippine Nurses Association of Central Florida. I'm a professor of nursing at Valencia College in Orlando and an adjunct faculty at William Patterson University. With me today is my co-host, Mindy Ofiana.
Thank you,
Mindy?
Manny. Welcome, everyone. I'm Indy Ofiana, Legislative Committee Chair of PNAA, corresponding Secretary of PNAA Foundation, and past President of PNAA Southern California, and a current adjunct professor at Charles R. Drew University, Department of Medicine and Sciences. Manny?
Thank you, Mindy. Our guest tonight is Nancy Hoff, who has served the PNAA Foundation in different capacities since 2013 and has been a PNAA member since 1989, where she served on several committees. She's the founding president of PNA Central California. For 56 years, Nancy Hoff has worked as a clinician, educator, administrator, and consultant for the nursing curriculum and nursing school accrediting process. She continues to find opportunities to influence healthcare and nursing education positively. She has been recognized and awarded leadership, mentorship, and education awards. Nancy has been inducted into the Central San Joaquin Valley Nursing Hall of Fame for promoting the nursing profession through a lifetime of dedicated work and achievement. She's also been awarded by California State University Fresno Health and Human Services Hero Award in recognition of her significant impact and outstanding service that has made a difference for the region's residents. In her current role as PNAA Foundation President, Nancy is actively fundraising, collaborating, and developing projects to support the mission of PNAA Foundation and the PNAA to benefit the members. Nancy, welcome to Rise Up.
Thank you. Thank you, Manny. I'm so happy and I am honored to be part of this particular program.
Nancy, we really are excited to have you at Rise Up today. We would like to know you more about you, okay? So, where were you from before you came to the United States?
I was born and raised in Batangas City, Philippines. I am a Batangueña.
Wow.
Yes. I went to school there from grade school to high school and then went to college at the University of Santo Tomas in Manila.
Okay, sorry. I'm biased.
So, Nancy, what brought you to nursing? I mean, how did you select to be a nurse?
Well, when I was in high school, a very good friend of mine and we both wanted to be a flight attendant. That was the thing then. That was in the 60s, because we wanted to travel.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to be a flight attendant, then you have to be either a nurse or go to school for foreign service. Well, I went to nursing and my friend went to foreign service at UP and I went to UST. She became a flight attendant. I didn't. I became a nurse and also went. And really what was so funny was that on my flight from the Philippines to come to California, she was the flight attendant.
Oh,
Right,
wow.
really, it was so funny. So we just during the free time, because it was a long flight with the Philippine Airlines, then we just talked and talked and talked, and so it was wonderful.
that's
So
good.
that was how I got into nursing, which I do love. I do love.
So why did you choose academia versus clinical practice?
Well, I did work in a hospital for 10 years, at least 10 years before I went to academia. When I was the clinical instructor or clinical supervisor in the surgical area, the operating room, I was in charge of students and new interns, and so I usually teach them, talk to them about surgical procedures. And they told their teacher, and they said, and they told me, why don't you become a teacher? I said, I'm a teacher right now. He says, no, teachers at the schools. And because I used to teach both Cal State students and Fresno City College students. Then the surgeons, I didn't realize, was listening to me when I talked to the students. And so they were encouraging me. So then I got recruited by both schools and I chose one.
Wow.
So then I stayed with them
Yeah.
almost 30 years.
Wow.
I know you are, and I've been encouraging you to
I
do
know.
that, and that's
I know.
great.
Thank you.
Yes, that's great. It's fun.
That's true.
Nancy, as a person of color, how was your experience related to racism during your nursing career?
Well, let me give you some examples. First of all, I keep this in mind. I accept who I am. I am proud of who I am because, and I let people know that. And many times when we have to give more than 100% to get the results that we want. How we look many times already create a mindset among people that it will be difficult to understand us, to understand how we speak. Okay, so let me tell you some experiences I had when in teaching. Okay, what I do is this. I tell the students on the very first day of class, I tell them, when you're listening to me and you think I speak too fast, raise your hands and I'll slow down. Also, when you're listening to me and you think you cannot understand what I'm saying, try to close your eyes and just listen. And that will make a difference. So I always say that. So I know that they will think that. I acknowledge that they may think that of me, and then I tell them what they need to do so that we can make it better. I'd like to also tell you the experience I've had with one of the surgeons when I was very new, first came and I was working in the operating room. This one surgeon, he's really not a very good guy. But anyway, so I was a newbie, and I think the surgeon asked for some normal saline. And I said, "Oh, doctor, did you want a liter of saline?" And he said, "Yes." And this doctor said, "Ooh, liter," and he goes, laughed at me because you know how we have difficulty with our I and E's. and so I told him, "Oh, doctor, English is only one of 3 languages that I speak. How about you? How many languages do you speak? I bet you can't even speak my language." Then he goes, "See, you see?" I said, "That isn't even my language." And everybody was quiet because the other surgeons, they knew me and they were so nice to me. But this guy, I think he was only a resident at that time, and he is, you know what. But anyway, so I thought I'd put him in his place there. So those are the things that I remember. Another thing too, I was a business owner. Also, I had residential care facilities for elderly, and I had 3 of them, different levels. And when I talk, because remember, they're older people with cognitive problems, right? And with dementia. And so I always tell the family, I laid down, I said, okay, I understand, because during their time, they can be very open. People, whatever. So I tell the family, I have caregivers here who are a different culture and different colors. And will that be a problem with your mom? And they will say yes or no, because I said that's where we're at. So I don't want them to be abusing my caregivers, because I did have one client who was that way. Oh my goodness, it was so bad. But I laid down from the very beginning.
I learned from you. See, you learn something every day. Anyway, what can you be proud of as a leader in academia?
I had done a lot of firsts, if not the first, maybe one of the firsts. There weren't too many Filipino deans of nursing. Actually, probably hardly any, maybe less than a handful in California. So I wanted to be part of increasing that number. Starting a campus from the ground up, building a state-of-the-art simulation center that had been replicated the different campuses all the way even to Dallas of this particular university. I think that was really good. I am very proud of that. I didn't do it myself. I had people who knew. I had a strong, I capitalized on the strengths of my staff and faculty, and I encouraged them and I supported them. and also being able to assist nursing programs that were in danger of losing their accreditation or board approval. I'm very proud of those things that I did.
Wow, that's nice to hear.
Nancy, I want to talk about NAAF. As the president of the Philippine Nurses Association Foundation, could you share to us what are your most successful programs and what made them successful?
Can I give a little bit of an introduction before I say
Sure,
that?
of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Leading PNAF, I believe and have always said this, that the success of an organization depends on the strength and skill of its members, the creativity and wisdom of its leaders, and the unwavering faith in the heart of its members. That I firmly believe, and I always say that. PNAAF is blessed to have officers and board members representing the 4 regions of PNAA who are not only caring and compassionate, but also have the spirit of philanthropy. The past presidents, were people who had a goal that they focus on. And during my first term as a PNAF president, I focused on advocating through philanthropic giving, caring, and collaborating. And I was blessed with PNAA leaders during my term, like Madeline Yu and the current president, Mary Joy Dia, and executive director, Carmina Bautista, who shared my vision and truly lived together with trust, respect, and collaboration. So grants and sub-grants in partnership with other organizations to support education and research were some of the things that I'm very proud of that we were able to do. Because these grants and sub-grants that were offered to us, not to PNAA, but we had to have a 501c3 organization in order to apply for that. So what we did is we worked together and saying, okay, we applied for it. The foundation does the fiscal management of it, and the PNAA and its chapters, they do the implementation. And we work together, however, implementation is not just, okay, I'll do this and they will do it. No, we are always together in decisions that we make. We were very fortunate to have that relationship and collaborative things. Because during these past 2 years, PNAA and PNAF collaborated with the Asian and Pacific Islander organizations to address issues in either COVID, of course, because of the pandemic. And also the one that I'm most proud of is the one that we have with all of us research program, wherein we're supporting, more contribution and more participation of Filipinos, not only the nurses, but the community, in order to get information about us so that the research, so that the treatment, medications catered are not be something that will be for us, for Filipinos, because we're not all alike, so that right treatments can be developed for the right people.
Sure. So Nancy, with successful programs, actually there comes some areas of opportunity for PNAAF. How could you do it better?
Well, we have many. As you know, we did our strategic visioning and our strategic planning as well. But even we're now in the middle of that, because we did it for 2021 but we're in the middle of that. But looking at it now, and in fact, we're going to talk about these things on our face-to-face on the 5th. I had identified some that I think we could do better. We need to take a closer look at the functions of the foundation and create a strong infrastructure. Also, creating a website that chronicles what and how the foundation met its mission. That is very good. We can't just keep it to ourselves. We need to make sure that it's known by all so that our charity navigator score is going to be high. Because we don't do it. We don't put it in our website. Yeah. That was brought to us by our new website committee chair, and the committee is working on making that better.
Okay.
That's wonderful.
That's nice. Okay.
So you started to talk about strategic plans, Nance. What key things are you trying to accomplish in that plan?
Well, number one that everyone and we all did is to increase the visibility of PNAA Foundation and its activities. And that is being done. I mean, through our joining the regional meetings, and talking about it. And we have done that in several regional meetings. And also activities that advocate through giving, caring, and collaborating. That's part of what we see and what we want to do and we plan to do. And we also want to have our committee's goals that reflect the PNAA Foundation vision and purpose in partnership with PNAA, and also collaborative projects with PNAA and other organizations that support our mission, the PNAA Foundation's mission, and the plan to create sustainability of the foundation, a plan for the sustainability of the foundation. And we're halfway there. We're almost there.
It's nice to hear about those plans and successful programs that you have. Is there anything else you want to wish more people knew about PNAAF or issues you are trying to solve?
Well, number one, I would like people to know the PNAA Foundation is the quiet giant that works behind the scenes to make things happen. I want them to know that. I want them to hear that. I want them to put that in their minds. That's who we are. We're not loud. We're not going to tell you all the things we do, but we are the quiet giant that works behind the scenes to make things happen.
Nice.
Also, PNAA members, one of the other things is we want PNAA members, chapter members, because the leaders may know, but not necessarily the members. We want them to know how PNAAF works, and which is being done now, like I said, through the meetings and through Inside PNAA being spearheaded by our Public Relations Committee Chair, Bob Gahol. And that was a big project of the committee, big goal. And another thing, and we have to have cooperation on both, is to decrease the duplication of functions between PNAA and PNAAF, because there's some that may be overlapping that we may want to look at those.
Those are the things, as you've said, you are a silent giant, and it's time for our members or our viewers to hear and know what actually PNAAF does.
Indeed, Nancy, PNAAF is the sleeping giant. I mean, not sleeping, silent giant.
Quiet.
I don't even want to use the word silent because that means you're not speaking.
You're not silent. You're right. If you could, what would you share? Where do most of the funding come from, and what percentage of your budget comes from donations, and what do donations help you do that your other funding sources don't cover?
Okay, most of the largest portion right now of what we have are from grants and sub-grants, which we then also give away, for implementation. The other one are the fiduciary responsibilities from officers and board members, the Legacy Tree campaign, board member projects, like Bayani ng Mundo. They were raising money, for the organization. Amazon Smile, actually, that Mindy started. We do have some money coming in, slow, but because there's small time, but hey, it's coming.
Yeah.
And of course, partnership with other organizations like the Philippine Humanitarian Coalition for Humanitarian Services. And as you know, we have RISE, right? RISE is a joint source, and R is for resilience, I is for innovation, S is for scholarship, and E is for enrichment. Now, what we have done here is that all these monies from both the coffers of what was raised by PNAA and what was raised by the foundation, we put them all together and put it in this one account, separate account in different buckets. Okay, like for example, we have what we call a general fund. Bulk of money from the general fund for this comes from corporate giving, individual donors, endowment funds, and also grants. For the resilience, although they will be also getting, if they need it, from the general fund, there are earmarked fundraisings that come from Giving Tuesday. It's both done by PNAA and PNAAF. The Heal Our Nurse that was started by the PNAA Foundation, and so that money, is there. And right now we have over 59,000 earmarked just for that. But if we need more for the future, these are all for the future, so that we don't always have to keep asking money in order to do things that we want to do. This is like a bank account, and it's to be used for those purpose, for the mission, for the goals of both PNAA and PNAAF. Then research, we also the money for the research, of course, will come from the general fund, which is over 125,000 is in the general fund. Then for scholarship sources, again, general fund. And for the enrichment, we have close to over 28,000 on that right now, but it's going to increase because the sources of those funds are 5K, okay, and anything else that may come and they may need. Like for now, we have given that for the LI, because the general fund, the enrichment, the purpose for that is for ILDP. You guys are getting your money from this bucket. Leadership Institute, the master class, public speaking class. So that's there. For the purpose for the resiliency is a support for nurses, the Kabalikat program, a support group. And of course, research is anyone who wants to apply for research. They go through that. And then the scholarship is for BSN, MSN, and DNP doctorate and postdoctorate. The largest percentage is coming from grants, because when we didn't have those, we didn't have much money. Really, our biggest fundraising event is the 5K. And so now it's not the biggest anymore.
So, Nancy, what would make the most significant impact in helping PNAAF get better at what it does?
Well, again, we'll be talking about this at our meeting, because before, the focus of getting people into the foundation is because we were wanting to get as much money as we can so we can purchase the building, right? And so that we don't have to worry about mortgage. We only have to save for maintenance of the building. So I think one of the things that I wish we can have is to be able to hire permanent staff, like for the executive director, be permanent, and also to review and develop focused criteria in selecting board of directors. Because the goal before is who can produce the money or who can do this or whatever. But now we really have to look and see what are the functions of the people that we need. So those will be part of our learning and our discussion on the 5th of July.
Wow, it's getting excited.
What should our viewers and listeners do to learn more about PNAA Foundation?
One is hopefully that they listen to their leaders when they talk about the foundation, or the leaders then join the meeting when we have the presentation at the regional meetings. Also, they can look at the website, which we are making it to be more robust, and more information are also in the inside PNAA. Mm-hmm. So there are more information now than before.
I see. So I know we're going to do on the digital, we're going to use digital technology with regards to information, but how more can we keep our supporters up to date about your work?
In supporters, like the funders, the people who support us and all that.
That's right.
Our goal is that every year We will give them, aside from just acknowledging their donation, is to also give them or tell them what we had, how we spent the money, and how we earmarked the money for what purpose. And also through a very active public relation group and website committees who will help us doing this thing.
I see.
So, Nancy, for our last question, what would be your message to our viewers and listeners? Rise up.
Okay, I forgot to think about that. No, I will say this, okay? PNAA and PNAA Foundation, through the years, have worked together to make this particular thing happen, which is the collaboration of in whatever they do, and partnership in securing and implementing projects, and the creation of the rights to raise funds to provide sustainability for education, research, and scholarship for PNAA members. They have to remember that. We're not trying to raise money to keep it. What for? It's actually to make sure that the PNAA members are taken care of. The goals for it, sustain those things, the professional development and all that.
Well, and that is all that we have for this episode. I want to thank our guests, Nancy Hoff, my co-host, Mindy Ofiana, our director and producer, Rodney Cahudo, Caro Robles, PNAA Chair for Communications and Marketing, our advisor, PNAA Foundation President, Nancy Hoff, our executive producers, PNAA President, Dr. Mary Joy Garcia Dia, and PNAA Executive Director, Carmina Bautista. Join us here every week on Rise Up. Until then, keep on rising and see you next week.
Bye. Thank you.